savings over to her boyfriend. So I asked her why she was doing that. Why didn't she put her name on the deed? And then she said that she was at that so-called leftover age, and she was very worried about getting married quickly, otherwise she would become too old to find a husband. When I looked into the origins of the term leftover woman, I realized that in January 2007, China's State Council came out with a very important population decision. And this decision said that China faces unprecedented population pressures due to the so-called low quality of its population that will make it very difficult for China to compete in the global marketplace. So the government set a key goal of so-called upgrading population quality. And I argue that this attempt to upgrade population quality is really closely linked to the aggressive pushing of the term leftover women, stigmatizing the urban educated women who are considered to be, by the government, the highest quality people in the population, to get them to hurry up and marry and have a child for the good of the nation. Another reason why I believe the government is really aggressively pushing urban educated women in their 20s to get married is simply because it wants to promote social stability. China has a sex ratio imbalance that's very severe. There are about 117 boys born for every 100 girls. And that's resulted in an excess tens of millions of men who will be unable to find brides in the future. And so I believe that this marriage promotion campaign is really focusing on getting the most educated women in China to lower their standards and to marry some of these excess men in the population, and that this marriage promotion will help to promote social stability. One of the things I focus on in this book is the very close link between marriage and home buying in China. There's, in addition to intense pressure to marry, there is intense pressure to buy a very expensive home on the private real estate market. And I argue that Chinese women have been shut out of what is probably the largest accumulation of residential property wealth in history, which is worth over 30 trillion US dollars as of last year. And this is due to a lot of factors. Most homes in China tend to be registered only in the man's name. Parents in China tend to buy homes only for their sons and not for their daughters. And many of the women getting married often transfer their life savings over to their boyfriend or their fiancé to finance the purchase of a marital home, but then the women leave their name off the deed. So they're forfeiting ownership of this incredibly valuable asset, which is the most valuable asset in the Chinese household. And I believe this is linked in part to the intense stigma of being single in China as an educated woman. Some of the women have told me that they are too anxious about not finding another husband, and so that's why they don't want to push too aggressively to put their name on the property deed. Well, China has a really severe epidemic of domestic violence. Official statistics say that about a quarter of married women have suffered domestic violence, but when you talk to feminist activists working on this issue, they say that the real incidence of domestic violence is much higher than that. And I argue that women's lack of property rights in China is closely linked to the prevalence of domestic violence, because when women's husbands abuse them, they have nowhere else to go to. They don't own that marital home. And there are also very few, or in some cases no, shelters for battered women. And these women who are abused by their husbands have basically no recourse. There is no law targeting domestic violence in China, despite many, many years of intense lobbying on the part of feminist lawyers and activists. I've met quite a lot of very inspiring and extremely courageous feminist activists in China, and I have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for them. Unfortunately, China's really cracking down hard on women's rights groups, on all sorts of groups. There is a real crackdown on civil society. The government is really afraid of any organization that poses any hint of a political threat to Communist Party rule.
When I step up in the party, all the boys get naughty. Turn off the lights, stop all the fights. Let's get crazy up in here, baby. We can dance all night. I ain't talking about the club, no. Once we out the club.
Today we have the beautiful Samaya Reese. Thank you, darling, for coming. Yes, thank you for having me. So, what made you like, okay, I have to like get rid of some of this boobage?
I've been thinking about this for a long time. This isn't something that like, who would want to go through pain? You know what I mean? A make under. Everyone thinks that you have to, make a makeover to, fit into what society standards are nowadays. I personally have been thinking about it for a long time because I have really bad back problems, and it's because of how heavy I was up top.
Yeah.
And I just got tired of it. I mean, I really made the decision to do it, and it wasn't easy for the most part because breast reductions are one of the most dangerous surgeries in the breast area.
Her dream.
Great shot. Can you give me like a Vita Guerrero shot?
An ass shot?
And fighting off the haters.
You are always rolling your eyes and you doing it right now. How about I roll them in the back of your head? So what's going on with Love and Hip Hop? Are you gonna be returning next season or?
I'm totally open for whatever. My biggest thing is I just want to be allowed to talk about my brand and show my brand. The reason why I came on Love and Hip Hop is to be, to show people not to show people, but to gain a new fan base. Because I started out on MySpace.
Right.
I'm a MySpace head. I'm one of the top MySpace girls, but I had a music page on there. And for a long time, people always got it confused because of how I look. I can't change that. So it was a great opportunity for me to show people, I'm a hustler. You can throw whatever you want at me, but I'm still gonna rise above. I'm very, focused, driven. I'm like, F all that noise. I'm here for my music. What's good?
Right.
I left my sick father behind to come here to pursue my music. This is very serious for me. I'm not on there to be a reality star. I'm on there as what I was hired as, music. This is what I do. This is what I live. This is what I breathe.
Tan complexion, and he ain't afraid to use his hands when sexing. But please believe, when it comes to respecting, he got it.
I also wanted to talk about, because you've come from a past of gang violence, and in your past you had to deal with a lot of violence and kind of fighting, for your life.
My first boyfriend, what happened with my first boyfriend is that he manipulated me. He was an abuser. I came from a house like that, so maybe it was a pattern I started to build. I don't know. And when I told him that I wanted to break up with him, I didn't hear from him for a little while. And then I came home one day and he ambushed me. And he beat me to where he knocked out most of the right side of my teeth. I can't feel the right side of my face. A little bit. I've had nerve regeneration treatments for it, but I rarely feel the right side of my face.
Project. The Dancing on the Ceiling singer announced that a collaboration is almost in the works, but fans will have to wait until Adele finishes promoting and touring her record-breaking new album 25. We are going to be doing something together that's already almost in the works, Richie told E! News. I can almost say that we're talking, but right now she has a mission. Her mission is to get her record out and go on tour, so until she finishes the cycle, that won't happen just yet. She is committed to that. Adele's first single in 4 years is called Hello, while Richie famously released the #1 Hello of his own in 1984. Fans quickly made the connection, and a mashup video shared on YouTube, with clips taken from both artists' music videos focusing on the theme of Adele giving Richie a call. Richie watched the video and responded on Instagram, posting the screenshot from his video alongside one from Adele's. "Hello Adele, is it me you're looking for?" he wrote in the caption. The 66-year-old initially thought that Adele had covered his Hello when he heard the title, before realizing he was mistaken. "Someone said to me, 'Lionel, Adele did hello and I said, retirement. I am done, he said. What it did was it blew everything to the ceiling. The conversation came up. If you say Adele and you say Lionel or Lionel and Adele, that's the best pairing you could have. Richie announced a tour last week, with tickets available to buy here. June 18th at Liberty Stadium, Swansea June 19th at Pauline Bay Area Stadium, June 22nd at Sheffield Arena, June 25th at Weston Homes Community